Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Brothers Take podcast. I'm Chris. I'm joined once again by my brothers, Adam.
Hello.
And Eric.
Hello.
And we are back in the room this week to start our spoiler cast of Resident Evil 4 Remake. Fucking shit. But we are going to do it differently to how we've done other spoiler casts before, where we would have just tried to talk about the whole game, realized we couldn't get it all in, follow up with another episode, blah, blah, blah. This time we're doing it very structured. We all know the Resident Evil 4, the OG, has 3 significant sections of the game: the village, the castle, and the island. So we have decided, so that we can do a more deeper dive on each section, to split those up into 3 separate episodes. And so for this week's episode, we are going to be primarily and totally focused on the village section of the Resident Evil 4 Remake. And so that is your spoiler warning in case you haven't played the game. But if you have been playing it and you're just not finished it and you've done the whole village section, then no worries, because we're not spoiling beyond that. We are just doing the village section, and we'd love to hear from you guys too. So if you're watching YouTube, make sure you jump down into the comments to share your own thoughts on RE4 Remake the Village section. If you enjoyed this, why not give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring that notification bell for all future episodes, including when we get around to doing the castle and then the island. And to those of you who are listening to us on audio platforms, you can also touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take, again to give your take on Resident Evil 4 Remake. Without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Resident Evil 4.
So, how disappointed were you guys when you actually, started the game and they did not go Resident Evil? Or is it just me?
Yeah, no, there's an element of disappointment.
I kind of missed that.
Yeah, it's like, come on, you need that,
Yeah. I don't want to start this like a negative Nancy, because actually I love this fucking game. I think it's amazing. And the village section, for the most part, is absolutely incredible. But that was just a little thing that just stood out to me at the start. I kind of missed the scary voice.
Yeah, there's something about the aesthetic, I think, of the OG, even down to the cover of the game. I think it's just, it's finer. The menu, I think, to this one, it gets a bit repetitive when you go back into it a few times. Like that same tune is it kind of grates on you. I think I just like to try get past that and straight into the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So why don't we? I mean, we're doing full spoilers here, right? We're not doing like a give us your non-spoiler thoughts first, and then, because we've done that, we did our first impressions of the the village section in the demo and stuff like that. So we'll go beyond that. But what I am curious about is, with the way this game starts, I think we all knew from playing the demo, they were like, oh, something's missing there.
Mm-hmm.
They played the intro, but then it just sort of skipped forward a little bit and there was just writing, right? So they skipped the whole car journey thing with the demo.
Yeah.
So I mean, we all knew there was something there we haven't seen. And I guess I was expecting more. I don't know. I was like, why are they not showing us that car journey? So then when it finally happened, I was like, okay, so something different's going to happen here that they didn't want us to see.
All
or
right.
There's going to be something, maybe there's going to be a cool briefing meeting in the White House where Leon is getting the mission. And fucking Krauser is there, Hunnigan's there, Mike's there. We're going to set up the castle.
Wow,
When
you've
they come in
really,
later
really,
on. Well,
talk yourself up here.
I'm like, you're expanding it, so let's see these characters, let's let's fully go MGS on this. You can call them up when you want advice on something, and then but anyway, I'm half joking, but
It was a demo. They just wanted to get straight into gameplay. That's it.
Yeah.
I know. I guess I was like, they're why? Because then why show the flashback cutscene at all? Why not just start with the bit of writing to give you a bit of context and gameplay? So I felt like they were specifically not showing something, and I thought it was on purpose, but it wasn't really.
No,
Well, it was on purpose. It was just
No, I know,
the
I know.
reasoning for it was just a bit more straightforward. Just
Yeah,
straight in.
yeah. But were you expecting anything, or
I was expecting a
was it just me?
little bit more gameplay other than just walking through a bush. Like, you just get out of the
Sure.
car, walk through a bush, and then that's where the demo starts. So I was
Yeah.
expecting a little bit more than that. Um, but yeah, other than that, I don't think I was expecting a full-on codec call being launched in an underwater torpedo to the
Why
island. Yeah,
not?
I wasn't
Why the
expecting any of
fuck
that shit.
not? Doing a halo jump into the village, landing into the back seat of the police car. I'm fucking joking, guys. Or am I? How awesome would it have been? Because I mean, the fucking this is the best Metal Gear Solid game I've played in years. It's still got some of those. One of the things that got me into the original was the Metal Gear Solid isms of it. And then
Oh, yeah,
that game got me kind of into Resident Evil, but it's still got some of that MGS DNA in here.
Especially now that they introduced the crouching and sneaking around and stealth combat and all that sort of stuff.
Stealth kills with the knife.
Essentially, like he is like the CQC. It's not as tactical as Snake would be with CQC, but it's again the shooting them and kicking or fucking pseudoplexing them over you. You know what I mean? Like still doing all this ridiculous shit. So he's very he is very like
Action
Snake
hero.
Yeah, Snake. Like it's like this is the most ridiculous situation, and not once as he went, yeah, Hunnigan, I might need a bit more help here. These guys' heads are popping off, and big giant tentacles are. This is some weird ass shit. I might need some help. At no point did they ever say that.
No, instead he's telling Hunnigan things like, "Yeah, you know what? I'm due a confession anyway." Before he goes off to church, It's I fucking love Leon. It's just ridiculous. He's an absolutely ridiculous character. I don't know what, half the things he's saying, and there's even the stuff he says later on in the game. We'll get to later on, but just some of the things he says before he goes to fight enemies and stuff as well. It's just who says that?
Yeah, it's quite surprising that they decided to keep that aspect of it. I'm glad they did, but I kind of that was the part I was kind of expecting them to tone back or strip a bit. But I'm glad they kept that in check. The whole game so far that I've played is a very, very faithful remake. To the point that even parts of it is almost like you've just taken the game and kind of just gave it a new skin. It feels that close to the OG one. But go back to the beginning of it. I think I might prefer the car sequence and the first encounter with a Ganado. I think I prefer that in the original.
Yeah, same.
I love it's kind of like, it's not that this isn't good because it's a new fresh take, and as someone who's played the original, it's like you're unsure, you're uneasy. But I think this game makes a lot of assumptions that everyone has actually played the original.
Right.
Because it's not there's no question. I feel like as I'm going through it, there's no mystery. Whereas with the OG Resident Evil 4, there is a mystery because you're like, well, these are clearly not zombies. They appear to be normal people.
That, right?
They seem like normal people, just crazed. And 7, I think, was closer to capturing that. It's like, okay, this seems like a normal dude. There's clearly something wrong because I'm pumping him with bullets and he's not going down. But he seems normal, and there's something about that. It's just really, really scary, and you're trying to figure it out. And 7 has that mystery, and I think it really pays off at the end when you find out what the mystery is. And 4 had that kind of up to a point before they became a little bit more monstrous. Whereas I think in this remake, they're kind of monstrous from the get-go.
That's sort of my issue with the first time. I think I said it when we were talking about the demo. I preferred, in the first one, he's like, hey, have you seen this girl? Man speaks Spanish. Sorry to bother you. And then your man just takes up an axe. And the first thing Leon does is freeze. I said freeze, he's trying to stop him, and then he shoots him. And then all the other Ganados turn on the cops and stuff. But in this one, it's blocks with a knife, kicks him, breaks his neck, and then he's coming down like a zombie. And now the mystery is gone because now well, these things are weird.
Yeah, there's some zombie aspect here, and Leon shouldn't be there shouldn't be any questions for Leon. He should be pretty kind of like, oh well, I kind of figure out what's happening here, as opposed to the villagers are gone crazy.
Yeah, something really wrong with these people. Yeah, I like both. You know, I do think that the original, from a storytelling perspective, probably lays it out better. But I appreciate having a different take on it as someone who has played the original, because I do think that if it played exactly the same, you do run into that risk of, and this happens with remakes anyway. Like, you're on a risk of like, why did you bother remake this if everything plays the exact same? Like, what's the what is the point? So I do appreciate, even if I prefer in some cases the way it was maybe done in the original, and then there's other cases where I'm like, oh, I actually like the way they're doing it here in the remake. I do think you have to change some things, or you do, you know, but you have to. It's a really careful balance. You can't change too much.
No,
because then it'll be like, what the fuck, you ruined, you know, you ruined the remake, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta, like, there's a really careful balance.
Well, like, first they like streamlined the map, which is really nice.
Yeah,
you know, giving you the freedom now to be on the boat and go around the lake and stuff, and you're going to all these different areas.
Great.
Was very nice and cool. Yeah. Then in the original, you had the choice. After the big house, you had two paths to go down. One led to a Gigante. The other one led to Ganados and the two Chainsaw Sisters. Now in this one, it's you fight the Ganado, and you also fight the Chainsaw Sisters. So they streamlined it so that you get to fight everyone.
You fight the who now? The what?
You don't get the
El Gigante.
The El Gigante is not there though. You don't actually get to fight him.
What did I say?
Just
Ganado. You said you fight the Ganado. I was like, well
sorry,
yes.
the El Gigante
Multiplied by 100.
Yeah, no, isn't that the option though?
In the original, there is
in the original.
There's an option. There's no option here.
But that's what I'm talking about.
No, but in the original, the option is it's a second El Gigante.
Yeah,
you still have to fight the. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. You're still fighting the original with the hey, it's that dog.
We have to hold off on that.
Yeah, we'll hold off on that. But anyway,
fucking highlight.
So yeah, you still fight that El Gigante, but then you get the option in the original to fight either an El Gigante or all the Ganados with the two sisters. In this, then they just made it that you have to fight the sisters, and I really liked that. It's a change, but it streamlines the map and allows you everyone to fight then every enemy and get a taste of it all.
Their
my
fucking entrance is absolutely incredible.
Yes, I love that.
I love that. There was the thing you had to get. It's queued up perfectly. The minute you go to get it, the chainsaws cut through the fucking wall. He flips back because he's a badass. But you as a player go, well, fuck, I'm fucked. And then the two of them come out, and they're so scary. They're way scarier than Salvador. I think they always were, though. Like, Salvador is more iconic, but the two ladies with the bandages who like kind of howl like cats, like they were always fucking scary,
and they're always tougher than Salvador.
Yeah, well, just two of them
remember.
as well. That's fuck.
Well, I don't think I think I only ever fought them once in the original with the Chicago typewriter. So it was a one-shot kill.
Yeah. I don't know if I think that was an element. I think I would have liked the choice because
really?
there is an element of you're kind of removing a thing that made the OG special, which was the choice. It's like, which one do you want to face off? You know, do you have major firepower or a lot of ammo?
Yeah.
And in that moment, you know, depending on how you're kitted out in that moment, you might decide, okay, no, I'm more equipped, I think, to go down this way. But then when you play it for the first time, you actually don't know. You just take two paths. You haven't a clue. You could take on any of them. The way they force it on you, it just kind of removes something that I think was a little bit special in the original.
I hear you. I appreciate the taking that choice out in this case, personally, because like fighting the El Gigante again, like the El Gigante is quite a recycled boss in Resident Evil 4 anyway.
Yeah,
and you know, you're playing it and you're going, well, if they follow the script right, I'm going to fight more of these later anyway. So, I think the possibility of not meeting the Bella sisters. I don't know why they're not. I don't know why the characters aren't being called the characters in this.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know
weird.
what the reason is, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you go into like the models and stuff, they're just called the Chainsaw Sisters, and Dr.
Yeah.
Salvador is just called Chainsaw Man or Chainsaw Villager. It's weird, but the Bella sisters are fucking cool characters. And it's like I've already fought the El Gigante. Why? It would be a shame, I think, for someone to miss out on those two.
But I think if
Also-
you play it, like, I mean, you probably you have a 50-50 chance of encountering them, and due to the
I know,
replayability of this, I imagine people will go down that second path.
Yeah. I like it. I think it works. I don't miss the option to go fight an El Gigante instead.
I tell you, when you are fucking no ammo, you will.
Give me that El Gigante right now. Hey, dog, come back. Come here, boy. Bite his leg. Okay. We're jumping all over the place here. First of all, I know we already had a fair idea of Leon's character from the demo and stuff, but having seen a lot more of him, are we happy with this rendition of Leon?
Yes. Yeah. He's pretty
Yeah.
close to the OG while being a kind of evolution of the one from 2 remake.
Yeah, it feels like a really cool. I think they've bridged it in a really cool way because I suppose, the RE4 Leon might as well be a completely new character. Like, apart from sharing the name, basically, him and the RE2 Leon from the PlayStation 1, they're just so unbelievably different. So I think it's cool, and that's just like because at the time they were taking that character. They were saying, well, 6 years on, he's gone through all this. He has way more experience. He's a totally different character, basically.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool in revisiting it that they're able to bridge it a little bit more. And it's just they've been lucky that way because they're able to use the same voice actor, very similar animations and that kind of stuff, and it just feels like the same character and an evolution of that character. So I think it's fucking sick. What about Luis Sera? From what we see in the village section.
Yeah.
You go first.
He's pretty like it. He's kind of what you expect from. I think I'm not so sure about his character design, like the actual wardrobe department in that area. I don't know if that's a major improvement, but yeah, he seems fine. He's very much got the characteristics that you expect from the OG. He's got some additional dialogue in there too, so they've expanded on him.
Right.
In that,
yeah. So is it during the village section, Adam, is freshest for you that they share some of Luis's background?
I think
yes.
so.
Yeah,
Like
what?
like Hunnigan looks into him.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then she comes back during that section, right?
Yeah, I think you're in Chief Mendes's house.
That's right. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So they do reveal that he was a researcher for Umbrella. That's new, right? That's not like a hidden note from the OG, is
I
it?
think. Yeah, I don't recall. He's always been a fairly like, why is he in this and what's his purpose in this, and he's just kind of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do we think about like that as like an addition to his character, making him previously an Umbrella researcher?
Well, it just gives him that purpose. Like every single person in this, I don't think there's anything that's kind of. Back in the day with Resident Evil games, characters are just put into it, and whether it's enemies or allies, and there's never a reason for it. It doesn't. Back then, they didn't really think about that in terms of storytelling. So it's just, here's a dude. Cool.
They did. Come on, like he had a big part in the OG, right?
He had a big
yeah,
part.
but there was
Yeah, he had a fairly big part. Like he doesn't last very long, but he.
Well, why is he there?
He had something to do with the backstory. Well, he in the OG.
Yeah.
From what I know from the OG, he was a researcher working for Los Illuminados, and he worked directly on the parasite, and then he had sort of defected or made a deal with Ada, and he was her inside man, and like there's a huge thing there. And so But you find out a lot of that through like notes and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But this having him be an umbrella researcher does change it up in a significant way, because now it's like, oh wait, so like, did he work with a Los Illuminados this time around, or like what's so how did he get here? Like it, but it also I think helped bridge, because RE4, as iconic as it is, feels a little bit like an outlier sometimes, where it's like, whoa, we're so far away from like, Wesker and Umbrella and the T virus. Like none of that's here. Our only bridge now is Leon,
which wasn't purpose back then, but here, yeah,
absolutely.
you wanted to join.
It's nice. It's a nice little tidbit that I don't think it affects or changes the story in like in a bad way.
No.
I don't like the way Hunnigan. I like Hunnigan. Who doesn't? I don't like where they've. This is so silly. I don't like where they've placed her little rectangle on the screen.
Is it just down at the bottom?
Yeah, it just feels like it feels like when if I'm ever editing something and I place my little square on, I don't like where maybe she needs to be up in the corner or something, or it needs like a more interesting border. I know it sounds so silly, but it just seems like it's just placed there, like.
Okay.
Well, it still has that.
The sound effect is amazing, though.
It still has that thing, though, isn't it? Like where he's talking to someone on the phone, but you're looking at them, so it still has that, like, it was me, dear brother. Oh, liquid.
Right. Yeah.
Where like they are making, like, some of the characters like would make faces and stuff, and it's like, I don't know why you're making a face. He can't see you.
Yeah,
it's like Homer with, like, when he decides to say something to Mr. Burns on the phone and he winks at him. As Marge has to point out that Mr. Burns can't see him winking.
I love though that Leon is like, he's got the fingers up to his ear, and like it's like, it's fucking codec right there, and I love that the sound of Hunnigan is coming through the controller.
Yeah, I really like that.
That's a nice touch.
Nice
a
immersive.
lot of sounds come through the controller. This is the most I've really felt a game utilize the speaker on the controller in a very useful and meaningful way.
Yeah,
it's always just really kind of gimmicky, whereas here, like, because that adds to it's not a good speaker, obviously, so it just adds to that kind of, that static sound that you'd get from a radio.
Yeah, I think it sounds great. It sounds really, really good. Okay, I want to go through like the key characters of the village, and then we can go through the key sections of the village, like the iconic bits, So another key character we obviously meet in the village. The person we're looking for, Ashley Graham, daughter of the president, the most annoying character in video game history, remade, revived, definitely better here, right? Like, definitely better. I'm not saying she's the greatest character ever. I think they could have done a little bit more with her, right?
She's less offensive.
She's less annoying.
I don't think she's less annoying.
Are you kidding me? Come on, just that
No.
the voice actor alone is a less annoying voice.
Well, I don't
That's what
think there was
I'm talking
anything wrong with the voice actor. It was more what she was saying, I think, in the original. I think the voice actor was fine.
The Leon helpline was always at a pitch that was just like,
Yeah.
oh,
I wouldn't
me so much.
wouldn't blame the actor for that. I'd blame
Right.
that on the.
No, I know.
But I know there's many times where I wish I could just turn her off. As like,
Right? Is it is it the mechanics that are annoying?
It's the breathing.
Oh, her breathing.
Her
She's always out of
breathing
breath, right?
is so loud. So I wish you could just go in and turn off the audio for her. Just shut up.
What do you think, Ashley?
I didn't notice her breathing.
Okay.
I thought she seems more like a college student in this
Yeah.
than the original, because I remember, like, I think one time I went back and played the original, and I was like, maybe I should start reading these files. So I read like the very first file, and I was like, she's 20? I thought the girl was like 16 or 17 or some shit. Like, in the original, I thought she was really, like, young.
Okay.
All right.
So when I found out she was 20, I was like, wow, she's an actual adult. Like, so, and in this, she actually behaves more like an adult.
Yeah,
And I think
so.
in her character design, you can tell a lot by her, even just her blazer. It's like, well, she's clearly student union president, is what she is like.
She could be,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, I didn't find her that annoying. I didn't utilize any of her mechanics that much. I barely ever told her to back off because every time I told her to back off, 2 seconds later, and so I picked her up. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, fuck. All right, just stick with me then. Stick with me.
Yeah, I kept her close to me.
Yeah, yeah. Even though
Apart from that time we were talking earlier with the Bella sisters, the chainsaws.
oh,
I saw a locker and I went, okay, I feel like something's like it's been way too quiet.
Yeah.
Get in
Yeah.
that locker right now.
Stay there.
And
yeah, but I
stay
like
there.
when you say that.
Yeah.
She's like, she does slightly protest to it, but then gets in because that's quite believable.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I did the same thing. I saw a locker and went, well, clearly something's going to happen here. So get in that locker.
I wonder, can you remap that button? Because I hate the command for her is on the right stick.
Yeah, because I've pushed it by accident.
Yeah, I
sometimes.
pushed it by accident a few times, and
Yeah.
I'm like wondering, why is she over there? So that's, yeah, I would like if there was like maybe a wheel of commands or something, so you can purposely say, this is what I want you to do.
Yes, yeah. And I wish one thing I do think would be pretty cool from like a gameplay perspective that I feel would be an evolution of something that they did in the original, but it would also give you more of an element of like choice, which is a big part of the Resident Evil games anyway, is like that you can choose while you have her with you, you can choose to give her a knife, right? You have that choice. What it would do is if someone goes to take her, she can defend herself.
Yeah.
So you're not worried about that.
But you lose your knife.
However, now you don't have the knife.
Yeah.
So you have to wait. And the other thing being, you can maybe give her green herbs, right? Which is something you could do in the original anyway.
Yeah.
This time around, what it would mean is whenever she gets incapacitated, she can revive herself.
Mm-hmm.
But again, now you have less.
Yeah.
I feel like if you had those choices to weigh up, it would be not only a natural progression of the original, but it would be that thing of like, do I want to give, like, would I rather have to worry about Ashley and have the knife? Or would I rather not worry about Ashley, but now I'm worried about myself because I don't have the knife? I feel like that would be like a really cool choice.
But also, like, you have like the kitchen knives and boot knives, so you can always give her that stuff.
Yeah, right. I get you. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
what? It wouldn't last as long for her.
Yeah, maybe like
That's
two,
like a
one shot thing.
Yeah, 1 or 2 shot type thing, and then yeah,
It's gone.
It's gone. And you can only give her one, like, you know, you can't, not like Leon who has like a suitcase somewhere.
Yeah.
This is the one part of the remake that I don't think they have like nailed, and I don't know whether that's just because the whole mechanic around Ashley and the mission structure with Ashley has been flawed since the beginning. That, like, how can you improve something that everyone hates?
Right.
But I still don't think that's a part of the game I don't like. I really don't like the Ashley.
people being able to take her and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because she's not like, as we were saying, how like in anticipation for this game that the companion has been improved in other games, but that's the thing, she's not a companion. She's still an escort mission.
Yeah.
And escort missions are never fun, especially when it's the entire game. So I would almost love if there was some method of that she's just not in the game somehow. I really...
Well, that was never going to happen, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Well,
Actually,
it'd be nice.
They could just push her into a cutscene.
It'd be nice, I suppose. Yeah, it'd be like Final Fantasy VII. She kind of just comes out of you.
Yeah.
Cutscenes.
Yeah.
Well, would it be nice, I suppose, if like at first she seems like a burden, but like what Chris was saying, as time goes on, maybe
She's
you
more
don't
helpful. Yeah.
like maybe picks a bottle and throws it, much like Ellie.
Yeah.
You know, Ellie Ellie evolves through the game. Something like that.
But I do think even just those little changes of being able to give her a knife, being able to give her health, would make it more of a... And maybe at times, like, if she's with you while you're with the merchant, you can, like, do up her knife.
Yeah. I think there's definitely
something like
something that they could have, because what they did with Ashley, I think, is the absolute bare minimum in order to not get criticized today, which is give her clothing that's, you know, more appropriate. not have her kind of you questioning what her age is, so that it's not like fucking freaky between her relationship with Leon.
Well, I think they've improved her relationship with Leon.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so that's that side of it.
More grown up.
They've written it in a way and designed her in a way that it can be. There's less criticism towards her. The one area that I don't think they've improved on is her what she adds to the game, and I think that would have been nice to see.
I like the bits where, and maybe they need more of it so that you actually look forward to having Ashley back with you, is like the bits where you can boost her in somewhere so that she opens it for you and things like that.
Yeah.
And maybe there needs to be a little bit more of things like that where...
Yeah, like in Lego, the way you need a certain character just to get this particular thing.
So like you've seen certain things, and if the rewards are really good, like they're not just like maybe by having Ashley open this cool thing for you, you actually get a really good weapon early on.
Yeah,
that you cannot get without
really
Ashley. So she becomes a useful mechanic as well in that sense. Yeah. Did you guys see when you get her in the church, like her phone? A broken phone on the ground, and she's like, "Oh man, I just bought that." I like those little things that give her a little bit more character.
I never got that dialogue off her. I actually always expected. I always expected dialogue off her, and she just like never said anything.
Oh no, I got that. Yeah. She makes a comment on, "Oh, man, I just bought that."
All right, I don't think I got that either.
Oh, it's weird.
I think you're making it up, man.
Yeah, I totally made that up. I'm writing my own script here. Well, actually, as I was playing it, this is the kind of stuff that usually excites me about the possibility of remakes, right? And I'm like, in revisiting RE4, look, the idea RE4 is ridiculous, right? It always has been. As part of it, I love it. It's absolutely ridiculous. But I kind of thought there might have been a cool opportunity to like write around the story as to why are they only sending this one guy into this village to find the president's daughter who's been kidnapped. Like, it's like a huge deal. Like, why isn't this like fucking SEAL Team 10 everyone in, right?
Yeah,
I thought it would have been kind of cool to do a slight rewrite, because there's a line in the original where Leon goes, "I was sent by the president." She's like, "My father?" And I'm like, what if you rewrote this in such a way where she is like a secret daughter, like secret family? He's not. No, the public don't know about this, and now she's been taken, and he's like, I need to keep this on the DL, but also I am worried about her and I want her back, kind of thing. Like, might have been a cool, interesting little rewrite to make Ashley's character slightly more complicated than just
maybe. Well, he's not the Pope, so I'm not 100% sure.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Well, one of the popes in history did have like illegitimate children.
I'm sure many of them did, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
If any of them had children, they were illegitimate children.
But if true, but I think more so if you actually do it that if you had that like my father, like being confused by this, if it was more of a case of like get my daughter, keep her on the down low, because if people find out, this could hurt my next election.
Oh, like make it more like an estranged relationship, like he doesn't, and like she could talk about it at times, like he doesn't give a shit about me anyway, like
or
that kind of idea.
Don't say things like that, or give us a third take on.
She is a secret daughter for for a better position in election, produced by Umbrella. She's a product of Umbrella.
Yeah, that's far-fetched.
But I think
that's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. That's Lisa Trevor shit going on there, man.
I always got the impression that it is just Leon being sent in not to get the daughter back, because it's more about discovering the location of the daughter, and once the daughter is located, that's when you send a team in.
Yes, I understand that, but when he goes radio silent for a while, like
they try to get a chopper in,
everyone,
and then it's like, they can't land here because
it's a bit windy. So
a bit windy.
It's a bit windy and there's a bit of rain.
I also get the impression that perhaps there is more members scouring other parts of Spain.
Oh, maybe.
Because how the fuck did they just land on this area? Like, I know there was there was intel, but
they had intel, man.
Yeah, I know, but it's like I'm sure they had other people searching in other areas. It's like, we have this one piece of intel. This one sounds like a lead. Send Leon in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in fairness, when he does find out and go, the president's daughter is here. Like, why didn't they go? Okay, find out exactly where she is. Get her. We're also going to send in.
Well, yeah, they're sending a helicopter.
Well, because this is a single operator, POS, procure on site operation, Eric. You've got 24 hours to find the president's daughter. Ugh. It's Metal Gear Solid. The game is Metal Gear Solid.
The game is very Metal Gear Solid. Yeah.
Of course, you could send more people, and you should. Why aren't you? But we're not, and we're giving you nothing. Go. I love it. But no, look, those are just little thoughts that came to my head with Ashley's character. Where I was like, I feel like they could, in the revisit, have fleshed her out a little bit more and give like it doesn't have to make sense, but like just a little bit more reasoning as to why this is how they're handling such a, what I would imagine be like a huge thing. And it's like, and do the media know about this, or have they kept it really hush hush, real quiet? I get the sense that the world doesn't know that she's missing.
Yeah.
And if they are keeping this very hush hush, and that she's just very recently been taken, right? But yeah, just things like that. Lord Sadler, his image crops up quite a lot throughout the village in really cool ways. In the OG, he shows up physically in the church.
He does.
This one, he like speaks to you through like in your
That's a
mind
really cool
and in
element.
hallucination. Yeah, well, I was gonna ask, what do you think of that?
That's awesome. I love that there's like this connection, because that was never really clear, I think, in the OG, wasn't it? Like, he does control, obviously, all the Ganados through the parasites and stuff. But here we're actually physically seeing it, and it's like, why did it never affect Leon? But I think it's a really good addition, and it answers some of those kind of questions while adding something new.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool retake on it. I like how powerful it makes Sadler seem. I like that he's staying wherever he is, and that he's not just showing up every so often, doing something and leaving.
Yeah. It's like, why are you even here, man?
Like it was like it was cool in the OG that you're like that the main villain, unlike say Mother Miranda in Village, is actually present and that you see him a lot.
Yeah.
But I do take I actually prefer this take on it.
Yeah, I do too.
What about you, Eric?
Really nice, cool imagery with him. Like, I love his big, bright blue eyes. Very ghostly, almost like
they're spooky.
Spooky.
But I knew it was a book coming. I could see it. Come on.
It's not specifically with the village, you see. But there was a point in the game in itself where I thought, this is lacking Sadler. Or I felt there was a point where I was like, this is lacking a villain's presence.
Yeah, I was the same, but not with Sadler. I actually felt there was a serious lack. I don't know whether that's just to do with like maybe he had a bigger presence in the OG. I'm not sure, but Mendes, for some reason,
he's the next character we got to talk about.
I felt he wasn't really. His presence wasn't as in it as he was in the OG, and I think it's probably just down to just one thing.
I thought he was in it just the same amount of time.
Is it that he doesn't jump out the window at that moment that makes you feel like you just got lucky?
I wish he jumped out that window.
I actually think it's because Sera doesn't say, "Oh, you've met the big cheese." Like there's been there's like people talk about him.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's missing. It's like, and I always felt in the OG that he was actually a major villain. And I was always shocked with how quickly he's dealt with.
Yeah.
In the original. And here, I also thought they were going to turn him into a kind of a Mr. X character as well.
Well, it's clear that they're using some of the same animations, right?
Oh, yeah.
A little bit. There's a moment where it's like, it kind of becomes that. I
don't
like the addition.
I don't know how long
hat.
this is going to last. You like the hat? I
hate the hat.
The hat. Interesting. Eric, what do you think of the hat? I love how we're all like, this game is amazing. I hate this, I love this. We like different things about it.
I like the preacher look he's got going on.
Yeah.
I do like the preacher look
Yes.
because it makes that way more connects the religion all together.
I do feel
Look.
like they have done a better job in this one, and it helps in that it is a revisit. So you're like, well, like, so the OG did the work. We just have to. It's like, what would I have liked more from the OG? I would have liked this or whatever. I do think that they do a better job at connecting the religion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think he needs the hat all the time. Like that's
No.
the thing. I feel like he should have been shot. The hat falls off. He jumps out the window, and then for the rest of it, he doesn't have the hat.
Yeah, because I think he's scarier without it.
Right.
Bald people are scary, according to that.
Well, it's just the way he his
quote
overall
him
look.
on that.
Because it's I don't know. There's something about the hat that really even hides the fact that he has two different colored eyes and stuff like that. You see less of his skin, the paleness of his skin. It really covers him in the shadow. Because when you think about it, right, if the hat is on him, right, and then this much of his face is covered in a beard, and then he has like collars up to here, like you only see his forehead. It's like you see less of him.
He's the Tom Hardy of the Resident Evil world. Like just cover up as much of his face and let him act with his eyes.
Yeah.
Well, I love the Rasputin-esque vibe they have given Mendes this time around. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, but I don't know if I liked the fact that he speaks English. I think there was something really kind of, I don't know what the hell is going on here. The fact that he speaks to you in Spanish and
scary and silent in the original, wasn't he?
Well, no, he did speak in it though. He spoke English in the original. He does grab you and go to blood.
Yeah, he does.
Our
He
blood
does.
runs through your veins, and then he gets shot by a
Yeah,
woman,
Someone
right?
out the window.
But I'm pretty
and
sure
then-
that's the only bit of English he speaks, though. Because I think
Probably.
most cases he's always speaking kind of Spanish, and there's something about being in a. Actually, I'd be interested to see what it'd be like if someone in Spain played the game.
Right.
It's like
I feel like
they
the dialect is all wrong.
they understand everyone else but Leon. It's like, but there was something about like him being in a different part of the world with a dialect that he doesn't understand, and he doesn't understand the people, like their behavior as well as what they're saying. But they are clearly communicating with one another. It's like we get that obviously from the villagers, but it's like, well, if all the villagers speak that way, why is the chief not?
Well, you can raise that with the other villains too.
You can. I always felt that Sadler though was an outsider that came there, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I always felt with him. So I don't never really mind that with him. Same with Salazar, actually. His lineage, I always felt that maybe he had the time and dealt with other people to learn another language.
Yeah, well, that character is richer, so they would have had the education for that, while the villagers less so.
I think.
But
they
yeah,
were really...
I think the just hearing the Spanish, like I don't know if it's that common in the remake, but just in the original, when you're like walking down some random path, then you just hear the edge guy, and you're like, oh shit, here got the villains. I do love that because you don't know what they're saying.
I think they're scarier here.
I think they do a really good job with the villagers throughout in terms of making them feel desperate, making them feel like victims in a way.
Yeah.
Like even as aggressive as they are, but when you start reading the notes of like and the stories of what happened, and like we're running out of food, but we're feeding these other things, and now we're gonna have to start giving people up, and now we're looking for hitchhikers, and there's all these like things like that where it's like there's a real desperation between like we accepted this gift, oh it's amazing, but now it's like I don't feel anything anymore. I'm starting to feel, I do think they really fleshed that out in a good way if you read all the notes as to like what this village used to be like before they were given this horrible fucking parasite,
Gift, Chris. It was a gift.
It was a gift. Gift to the foes of Mordor. But yeah, I think it's sick. Well, when you're and you get some of that as you're exploring Mendes' house. I have a question. Two questions actually. One, did you guys know about the ganado in the bathroom? Because I completely forgot that was a thing.
No, I know about the ganado.
I completely forgot that. And then when he came out, I was like, cheers for that. gotta go pick my heart up.
Yeah, I shit myself more than he did.
Yeah, no, so I knew about the getting out in the bathroom, and I kind of thought to myself, I didn't realize I was opening the door to the toilet.
Oh, right.
So I opened the door and he was there, and I went, "Oh shit!"
then-
Like I
And then
shot him.
afterwards, you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I went, "Okay, so that's the toilet. Okay, what they get out of that? They kept it in. That was nice. Go around, explore the house. I was when coming back, and then he came back around again. And I was like, "Oh, back out."
Oh yeah, and he's got his neck kind of broken. That
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
look. Yeah,
That's right, yeah.
I don't know
And
the names
it's-
of the new ones, but
Second, did you guys go back to that house with Ashley?
Yes.
oh yeah, to get up into the attic.
Yeah. Some cool shit up there. And they expand on Louis Sera's backstory even more there.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Though
first of all,
I
I was like,
spent
I
a
thought
good-
Sera was his surname. I didn't know. Is Luis Sera Navarro?
oh yeah,
Who the hell is that guy?
Yeah.
Who's he?
And so this is the village he grew up in then. So he
Yeah.
does have a longer history. And then before he went off and joined Umbrella, this is his home.
He's home. Yep.
So that's cool. And then I'm like, oh, so then with his work with Umbrella, did he come back for some reason? Or like, it's just cool. It's cool little things going on
I
there,
spent a
giving
good
him bit
10
more
minutes
mythology.
In that
Yeah.
attic, trying to find that little
The little-
Castellan.
Castellan.
Holy
Castellan,
shit!
yeah.
I'm like, I can hear you, but I
Yeah.
can't see you.
Yeah.
I
Same.
love the inclusion of them. They replaced the raccoons from RE2. And I love that they are little Salazars.
Yeah, I've
And
missed
to
so
see, like-
many though. I'm kind of raging.
I have missed loads of them. Some of them I think you would
I've-
need a guide. I've heard people
I've
say it's like
two-
some of them are
I've-
just.
I have 2 left to get. Then I will just use a guide to get them.
Will that carry over then? So when you do the new game plus, it's like remembers
yeah.
all the ones. Okay, that's neat.
Yeah, carries over. Yeah.
It does. But I love that they're doing the little hand thing that they're doing is from the OG the big statue thing, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
a good way. Of
That's
doing
a
it.
cool nod at doing that.
Yeah.
You know,
That's the
I kinda wish
equivalent of
then they
the
were-
Fort Condor from Final Fantasy. You know, it's,
Yeah.
It was such an interesting way of including it.
I kind of wish they were little stone ones. I think that would have been just like
Well, they
you
could
know
be.
a perfect way. No, what I mean is like grey colored. Like
Oh,
coloured
okay.
like the statue.
All right,
you know.
right, yeah.
So that maybe that would have made them too fucking hard to see though. So
I
maybe
think it would have
colours
made them
help
hard to
with
see,
finding
and
them,
you a lot of the detail I think would have been lost.
Yeah, you
because
wouldn't
they're so
know what it
so
is.
small, and you're looking
Yeah.
from a distance and stuff.
No, that's a fair point.
I
So-
absolutely love the connection, the whole thing. The village is just incredible. Going down to the lake, coming back up, like the way you can backtrack and explore, and everything connects. It really feels like Village or RE8 in many ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just found it so difficult to not necessarily put down, right? There's moments where I get to it and I'm like, okay, I get to a typewriter, save it, and I turn it off. I found it so difficult to not think about the game, right?
Yeah.
When I'm just off doing something else, and I'm like, oh, if I go down that way now, and I'm trying to plan out like getting all of the collectibles, and when I have Ashley, what would be the best way to get back up to. There's a couple of areas where you need her to piggyback her to get things, and really planning those out, and like doing resource management, and I'm just constantly thinking about it. I think the village is such a wonderful playground.
Yeah.
And it's kind of unfortunate that there's so many points of no return kind of elements to it, because
Yes,
there are parts where I'm like, oh, I'd love to
Go back
go
there.
back
yeah.
down there. Yeah.
And there's so many iconic like parts to the village section, right? Just outside Mendes' house again, actually, you come out and then you hear a little wince. You go around the corner. The dog! It was fucking in it! They moved it on purpose. And you didn't do that. I was so happy to see the dog. I was just like, I put the controller down. I was like, I'm so happy to see this dog. No idea. This is the best boy ever. And then when he came back during the El Gigante fight, wait now, do you have to save the dog or is it an option?
You can.
That's what I wonder.
That's easier to miss in this one.
Oh wow! So
Yeah.
I want to know if someone has not experienced the dog.
Yeah, it's if you just hear the wincing and just went,
Just keep going.
keep going, because he's around the corner where you don't have to go.
Yes.
it's easier to miss here.
You did do it though, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because like when he shows up house and lightning strikes behind him, I just laughed. Like I was like,
wonderful.
this is just amazing. And then
The-
he, like,
the only
bites
thing
the
is,
El
though,
Gigante's leg, and
I give that moment 50% because
50?
it's missing another 50%. It's missing an
that?
element. It's missing the ongoing. That dog.
he says it.
Does he?
Yeah, just not in the cutscene. He says it in gameplay.
Yeah.
As the dog comes in and starts biting, he's like, that dog. So, yeah. Unfortunately, some of those iconic lines are said during gameplay, and you can kind of miss them in the moment. Because I think he says hasta luego to Mendes during gameplay as well.
No,
he
does
says it
that.
in
He
cutscenes.
just actually, I did have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Because he kicks it and he shoots and he goes hasta luego. But I'm like, there was just something so much better. He rolls the oils on the ground. He takes out the gun and just having that little additional word of just going hasta luego, asshole, and then shooting it and just all the flames going up and then the explosion happens.
Did he say asshole?
In the original, he says asshole. In the
I don't
remake, he
remember
doesn't.
I always remember him saying hasta luego, but I
And
never
he goes,
remember
hasta
the-
luego, asshole. And he just fires the gun. I was like, that's such a fucking Leon thing to do. But I loved that El Gigante fight.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
The
Well,
dog was
it's a
introduced.
pretty
I
it's
think
a
it was
pretty accurate
Yeah.
or faithful retelling of that, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
did
Like,
he?
you
does
still
he
run
hit-
over and hack the thing, and
No. But I mean, like the bits, like what he does to the dog, like when he throws the dog and then he's like charging and he like hit because the dog is irritating him. He hits the wall and it all crumbles down on top of it. I thought it was just a way
all
more
the cinematic qualities.
cinematic fights. He picks up the big fucking house to try and hit you with it and stuff. I just thought it was a way more
Yeah, no, that's
cinematic,
true.
awesome fight. Like I was like,
Yeah.
this is fucking class, and the dog.
It was
Yeah,
a much.
no, it is
I
great.
found it to be a much easier fight than the original. I was really, because I knew it was coming up, obviously, so I was really preparing and getting everything that I could, and I was surprised how quickly he went down. I love the redesign. There is a change to it, and he looks a little less troll-like, I guess. It's a bit more original looking, I think.
I think it looks more like a deformity this
Yeah.
time around, if that makes sense. I mean, it still looks. You could still describe it as like a very troll-looking thing. Like if you told someone who has never played the game, "This is a picture of a troll," they would believe you. But I do think that the way it does look like a deformed person, which is actually what it was. Because I remember like being younger, being very confused. As I was like, "The Elgato is cool as fuck," but
What
what
is
is
it?
it? Like, how did that come about? Was it a person once? I've no idea. What you guys think of the Del Lago fight?
It was fine. It was very like the original. Like it was okay. I think at that moment in time I kind of am happy that it was like the original. I don't think I
Right.
would have wanted necessarily much more out of that fight.
What about you, Eric?
There's a very annoying thing in that fight for me.
Right.
There's a challenge to do, which is kill the Lago without ever missing with the harpoon.
Oh wow, that's tough.
It's very tough because let's say you aim with the harpoon and you decide, no, the Lago's gone. I'm going to put the harpoon down.
Oh, he throws it.
You let go of it and he throws it.
I didn't like that mechanic actually.
That was like, so what's the point of the R2 then if L2 makes them throw it anyway?
Yeah.
Not just putting it down. So that really annoys me. But other than that,
Okay.
it's the exact same fight.
Yeah, I like it, but I was a little disappointed by it. I was kind of hoping that was one they were going to rework a little bit. Like I remember fighting with the harpoons, I was like, oh cool, yeah. But I actually thought I was like, this is the first phase. Something's going to happen that's different. And it's going to be like a new part of this fight. Like maybe I'm going to think it's dead. I'm going to get on land and then it's going to burst out of the fucking water or something. And I'm going to, oh shit, I don't know what to do for this fight because it's new. I kind of thought maybe they'd mix up some of the boss fights that way to kind of throw you off. Like, oh, you think you know how this goes? Bang! You know? That's not to say I didn't enjoy, you know, the fight. But I was like, I always remember the Del Lago as being so epic. And in a remake, I'd want to like take advantage of this big monster and go more with it, you know?
So there's 3 boss fights, isn't it, in the village, I think.
Yeah,
You've
like
got-
outside of like the sub bosses, right?
You've got the Del Lago, the El Gigante, At that point, it's a boss fight, I would say. And then
Yes, definitely.
Mendes.
Mendes. Yes.
I think all 3 boss fights are actually pretty easy.
Sure.
And they certainly seemed easier than the OG, as far as I remember. And that seems oddly unbalanced in comparison to the encounters with the Ganados. Because though Dr. Salvador and the Bella sisters are... And that fucking dog, not the nice white boy, the one, the big grin and the mutt. What do they call it? The savage mutt?
Savage mutt, but I think they're called the Colmillos, or...
That is a tough boy.
Yeah,
they're
tough.
They're tough boys. There's
that's an optional. That's an optional boss, I guess, right? Like the dog.
Yeah.
Oh, so can you not accidentally stumble upon that if you don't accept the?
I think you can accidentally stumble on it, if you go to that area. But like,
because there's no way out of there. Like once you go up into the chief's house and you walk back out, and there it is.
Yeah.
There's no way to not encounter it now because there's only one way out of there. It's down to the village. You're kind of
that's true.
But once you've entered it, you have to fight him.
You activate it, yeah.
But if you don't go up to Chief's house, then you can. So for speed running, you don't do those things. You just kind of want it.
Yeah, I just mean that. Like, let's say you just went back up to get something.
Sure. Yeah, you would activate it.
You would activate, and you have there's no opting out of that particular challenge. Whereas there's a couple of other challenges I think later on in the game that if you encounter him, you can always run away or something. But it's kind of hard to do that in the village just because of the way they at that point they kind of block off areas and you can kind of only go one way.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do on my second run. Clear out the village before I activate the dog.
Oh, you didn't do that? Okay.
So I was fighting the dog and the villager.
Oh, that's even tougher. That's even tougher.
I know. I was on the easiest difficulty.
I liked actually the when you go back into the village and you're about to run up, and then just the explosions,
the bell tower that goes down.
I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then dogs popping out, and I was like, oh shit. Actually, so I don't like the design of the dogs.
No.
But I like that the dogs were in it more because I think in the original they were in it once, maybe twice.
I can remember 2 distinct moments from the OG that they're in, but I don't have the best memory of that game in terms of I remember everything that happens. And I definitely remember things out of sequence.
I'm finding that when I'm going through this, I think the last time I've played RE4 was on the Wii.
Right.
I think that was the last time I played it. Still, actually, my favorite way to play it.
Really?
Yeah.
As in the OG?
No.
Or including the remake?
Including the remake.
I love this remake.
I loved the Wii version. But I'm going through it and I'm like, oh yeah, but I don't actually fully remember it. It's been a while, but then there's things that happen and I'm like, it just brings back those memories.
I like the gameplay so much that I don't know if I can go back and play the original now. I think I'd be more inclined to watch the cutscenes of the original and be like, oh, what if that's so cool, I actually think I would just get annoyed at not being able to do what I now am able to do.
Okay.
Because you can't
the gameplay to this game.
Actually, interestingly enough, I don't find the gameplay it's. I think there's obviously huge in the visual space, right? And although you can move in this one, you can move. I still feel less mobile than I would want to be. And therefore, I find I actually don't find it to be a massive improvement on the gameplay department.
That's interesting. I do think it is, but I do agree with you in terms of, and I think it's on purpose. There's an element of you need to feel like you could get surrounded.
You definitely can. Yeah.
And you can and you will. And that's part of the scary part of RE4 is the getting surrounded by hordes of enemies.
I think I would love
another remake.
an evade mechanic. Not one that you have to wait for, a proper evading. Well,
I was saying to Eric before, I wish that the crouch button, if you're running and you push I wish he rolled.
Yeah, I do think it's missing that because this is way more. Oddly enough, I never had an issue with RE2. I think the gameplay in RE2 is just absolutely phenomenal. and everything about. And this is not much different actually in terms of what you can do in it.
Yeah.
But the enemies are so much better in this. They're so they can do more. They can do way more.
Yeah.
That I almost feel like because it's way more action packed now. The very static movement of it, I think it is missing some form of evade. A roll would be nice. A roll would be very fucking nice.
Yeah, because I remember like running and pushing circle, and he just crouches, starts going slow again, and it's like it feels so wrong. It's the one thing. Well, it's not the one thing, but it's one of the things that I feel like it makes sense that when he's walking and you push circle, he crouches.
Yeah.
But for me, when he's running, it should be a roll.
It should be a roll. Yeah,
I think that would make
really,
a huge difference in combat.
It would massively improve it, because just when you are surrounded, there really isn't a way out of there.
Yeah, yeah.
There are moments where you're like, I literally just have to take this damage and deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can block ish, provided you have an item to do that with.
Mm-hmm.
But there needs to be. It seems odd that in this day and age, a lot of his, whether it's backflipping or suplexing or roundhouse kicking, is assigned to whether or not that button becomes available to you.
Yeah, yeah. I would not want a backflip button though.
No, I wouldn't want a backflip button, but an evade button.
No.
Yeah,
Back,
an evade
But that
button
backflip is an evade, right? That actually
I know.
It only comes up as a prompt to evade,
yeah.
and I think if they allowed for an opportunity to evade.
What
more
about
frequently.
What about Leon is a military tactician. Okay, he's trained in the military. What if you were able to turn a ganado into a meat shield?
Like grab one.
Grab one and
so grab one and then you start shooting. So they take I don't know, someone's run at you with a pitchfork and someone's trying to. You just kind of turn them and the pitchfork goes to them and then you start shooting.
I mean, that would be pretty sick as well.
You can do an MGS5, can't you? Sometimes it can be a bit awkward to do.
Yeah, well, it would have to be a thing where you can't just do it all the time, right?
Yeah.
No, all the time.
And there's certain enemies that you would not be able to do it with.
Because their fucking head goes fucking mental.
Yeah.
I love.
Imagine if you held one for too long.
That comes out.
No, they literally they chant to themselves and they slit their own throat and the fucking parasite will pop out. It's like they sacrificed themselves.
Yeah.
So it's like you could do it, but you can't do it forever. You can't just hold on to a guy, walk around the whole village with him.
They'd struggle and they kind of break free and stuff. I like the introduction. Speaking of just the enemies and the things that they can do. I think the first time, the village was pretty intense, but I think the first time I was a bit I do not know where to go, and I'm going to stand here and wait and just start shooting. Was when you're in the farm area where the windmill is, and you drop down, to get up the yoke, and then you just hear this
the bull,
the bull sound, and I'm like, what is happening? At first, I even thought to myself, is the bull outside gone crazy? Because there's cows there, so I thought the cows went crazy, and then just the door starting to smash, and then this guy with a bull's head just bursted through a hammer, and I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
That was very cool, yeah.
He's a cool new enemy type. One thing I wish is, because when a few of them turned up, it's a very small thing. I do wish that each one of them had maybe a different animal head.
I agree.
Same animations, but just to kind of vary it up or make it feel like it's maybe different characters. So a pig head, a ram head, whatever.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have to do too much work there. Keep all the same move sets and all that. That all works. It's a brute character. Because it felt like when he showed up a couple of times in the village, I was like, I feel like I'm seeing this enemy a little too much.
Yeah, I felt that way too. Because he felt special in that moment.
Yeah, he's a cool addition. Especially, when he breaks down that door and you're like, well, I didn't expect this because this is new. So now I don't know what's going to happen. So that really threw me in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was now we're going around every corner. I have fucking no idea what they're going to throw at me.
Yeah, I was pretty on edge kind of walking around the village. I certainly wasn't running around the place.
Because I think they kept another enemy. When everyone's gone to bingo, and then you're kind of just looking around, and some guy just bursts out of the wardrobe.
Yeah.
They scared the shit out of me, man.
There's always something there. You're never really safe. And the additional areas too, like they really expanded, or at least in my memory, they've definitely expanded the whole lake areas.
Big time, definitely.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed all of that. That was some interesting puzzles. It kind of felt God of War like in a way, you know.
Yeah. And I like that some of the puzzles feel familiar but new.
Yeah.
You know, like it's that one in the church. You know, you always remember it, but you're like, it's not the exact same as the one before. It is different, but it is. I recognize this. You know,
that one makes more. Maybe that's what they're trying to do in the original. That one makes more sense to me. That you're rotating the stained glass. Because I think in the original, isn't it just like these multicolored lights shine, and you have to
you're in this like you know this village that's stuck in the 1930s, but you go upstairs in the church and they've got full theater lights, you know.
Yeah. Or there's when isn't it like? Am I right in saying like when you're leaving the village, you have to go up to a door and scan the eyeballs so that the door opens so you can leave the village?
I am actually happy with the change that you can just enter the castle like it's a normal castle and you don't need the chief's eyeball to get in. Because I was like, so how do people go to and from this castle, like generally speaking? How did Luis get in? What?
I would though if there's...
That's a nice change that you don't need the chief's eye to get in.
But I would like if the chief's eye was used for something, because it just seems like
rather than just selling it.
Yeah. Maybe it was to unlock a chest and there'd be something inside it or something like that.
Speaking of which, what do we think of the merchant?
Was there always music when you go to him? Like, but not click on him, but near him, there was always music.
Yes, always.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah, it's very faint. It is there, but
if you turn on the original soundtrack, that's much more prominent. It feels like so safe.
Part of me wants to get that and just try it out because
the original
see what
music,
it does to the experience.
The original music is very good.
Can you unlock that, or you have to purchase that?
You have to buy it. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
There is some moments I have to say in this game, but I don't think I can talk on any of them yet because I don't think any of them are in the village section.
No.
There are some key moments where the music really stands out.
Yeah, some good moments. I like the merchant, but I think something about the merchant in the original is he had a distinctive accent, but not an accent that you can specifically go, he is from here.
Yeah, I always got the impression he was Australian, but maybe it was just because I had very little interactions with Australians.
Sure.
In this one, he's very, maybe I'm wrong, but I got the like Cockney impression or something.
He's definitely British.
It's very British. Yeah.
I think as a mechanic, it all works very well. I like the menu system. I like tuning up. It's all very fast. How he's being portrayed, however, for me is not as good as the OG. I do think this feels like a low budget version of the merchant or something.
This
I don't
would
know
be if
it's like a rip-off or like a knockoff of the actual merchant.
Yeah, this would be the Paul W.S. Anderson's version of it, wouldn't it?
Not that. I don't think
that's
bad.
a bit harsh. No, he's like, come on now. That's not totally. He's grand, but yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
That's mean. That's too mean.
Yeah, that's fucking harsh.
I mean, he does have different dialogue options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like his additional lines actually.
Actually, I won't say what I'm going to say. I'll wait till the end.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I didn't mind him. I liked him, to be honest. He serves his purpose.
No,
he has additional dialogue lines.
He's fine. It's just that the original is so iconic.
Yep.
And this one does not feel.
It's iconic. A bit like with the Batman, right? If you find someone who doesn't do the Batman voice.
Yeah, you're a little bit disappointed, right?
Yeah.
You're like, don't get me wrong, you look like Batman, you're great, you're doing your job, you're kicking ass, I have a good relationship with you, but I miss your voice, man. Like,
what happened to you? You need to smoke a few more packs.
Yeah, come on, buddy. But yeah,
I didn't really like. I don't know if I'm too crazy about the addition of the life bars on some of the equipment that you have. So the knife, for example,
and the body armor.
Well, yeah, the body armor I think you get at a much later point. But yes, I don't love that only because it's not difficult. Right? I'm actually not finding it. Like I find that I'm not using my knife. I'm just picking up knives and using them instead. And then occasionally, like if I need to, I'll use mine. But it's not actually affecting me in any way. I never get to a point where I don't have a knife anymore, right? Because I can just go to him and repair it. It's grand. And I'm the same with later on when you get the body armor. The fact that the life on that reduces, I'm just like, grand, I'll just go repair it. I never find that it is something that I'm constantly worried about. Other than it's just like that's cost me some money, and I was kind of wanting the money for that thing over there. So it's more of a. I was looking forward to it because I thought it was going to be more of a balancing act that I'm going to have to try and figure out where will I spend my resources. I'm actually not finding that at all. I'm actually just finding that it's just taking me longer to save up for that thing I wanted, and so therefore I wouldn't have had it.
But then why are you repairing the knife if you find you don't need it?
No, I'm repairing the body armor. No, I'm not saying I don't need them.
Sorry.
I'm saying that the current mechanic is just keeping me away from the thing I want.
Yeah.
Without necessarily having me worried about the things I have. I don't find it working for me.
What difficulty are you playing it on?
The standard one, the middle one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I find it works because for that reason of fuck, I really want that thing. So now I have a choice to make. Do I repair the knife or do I go without one so that I can get that thing I need? Which is the whole Resident Evil choice making thing anyway, of like it's even like do I heal myself now or do I hold off a little bit and heal later?
Wait, I think you'll
get enough life.
Jesus, I forgot how to speak. They really did the balancing act quite well when it came to bullets.
Yeah, I think so too.
I find because
I always think I'm going to run out.
I find myself like I could make a crap ton of handgun bullets.
Yeah.
Or one set of shotgun bullets.
Yeah.
Which is obviously more powerful, but it's not as much bullets. So I have found as it got more and more, I was like, I have too many guns and not enough bullets for anything. And which one do I make?
Yeah, I think the resources side of it, when it comes to the ammunition, as well as the rest of the upgrading with the merchant.
Yeah,
I think all of that is just solid.
Fantastic.
Because I have never, whenever I turn off the game, I'm never well equipped. Right, my next moment that I'm about to embark on in that game, I'm pretty sure there's a tough fight ahead of me. Based on memory of the OG, I have no bullets really. I have enough that's in a chamber of each of my weapons, but apart from that, I have no more ammo. I don't know how I'm going to continue, but that happens to me every time. Even when I was in the village, there's so many moments where I'm like, I feel screwed. I really do. But then it's as you're popping a few, it's like, oh, that one over there has dropped ammo, so you run over and you try to pick it up and. You scavenge the ammo in it, and this deciding on which resources you're going to craft ammo for. I think that side of it is just masterful.
Yeah, I love it.
And I don't find the knife mechanic and the body armor mechanic plays into that as sweet as it does with the resources.
No, I love the crafting. I think it's great. And speaking of tough fights, after playing the village demo, I was like, oh, that was so intense. There is a sequence that I've always dreaded in the original, and I was dreading it in the remake. In a good way, I can't wait to see what they do with it, but I am dreading playing it, because that is how I feel when I play Resident Evil. And that is the house siege.
Yeah, I was too. Yeah.
I was fucking dreading the house siege. I was like, these guys are fucking tough, man, and they're scary, and they're way more, they're faster, they're way more aggressive. And I don't know what, and as well, with the other enemies that they were throwing at me, I was like, I don't know what they're going to throw at me in this fucking house siege. So how did you guys find the house siege, which is towards the end of the village section?
I actually somehow love that house siege moment.
Even in the OG?
Even in the OG, I love that house siege moment. I loved you and Lewis Sera back to back shooting at these guys, boarding it up with the doors and everything. Because it reminded me of Helm's Deep. It reminded
Yeah,
me of
man.
Minas Tirith. So
Yeah.
I was a little bit looking forward to it. I think I actually preferred the original.
Wow.
The original's more fun.
I think the original is
Yeah.
more fun because I think this house is smaller. Even when you go upstairs, I think it's smaller,
It
and
is,
so they're on you more. And I'm like, I can't see. Now I'm John Wicking everybody because I have to angle my gun in a certain way where I can shoot, which is awesome. But like, yeah, um, I like that scene. And Lewis Serra feels a little bit more helpful, especially because he gives you
Mm.
bullets, which is really
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah. I like, and his dialogue is good.
Mm.
I think they do create a really good atmosphere of like, in that moment, I did not stand still at all.
No,
I was running to windows, putting things on, turning around, shooting, running up the stairs, shooting, throwing grenades down the stairs, like constantly crafting, running for more ammo. Like I could not stand still, and as soon as it was over, I put the controller down. I was like, "Oh, thank God!" Like I made it. I made it. But it was like just constant panic, and I think for a game that's like so action heavy, but it is within the horror survival genre, I think that is like a key sequence
Mm.
of like, yeah, I felt the fear here. Maybe not the fear, but I felt like the panic.
yeah,
Yeah, that took me 3 attempts.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, and then the bull guy comes in again. You're like, "Fuck."
yeah, that's where it really fucked up for me. I had very little resources, very little ammo. I was very reliant on Lewis Serra handing me bullets at the beginning.
Yeah.
I was using everything in my arsenal, like just waiting for them to have their heads pop up to throw a flashbang, trying to get distance so I could use a hand grenade. Like I used absolutely everything I could, but that is at the moment particularly where the evade button idea
You wanted it, right?
was
You wanted it
absolutely
there. Yeah,
needed
yeah,
because there's just it's a very cramped space for that many people. I'm surprised how many people ended up upstairs with me.
oh yeah, so many,
yeah.
so many.
It ended up like a house party. We're like, lads, like we can't all stand here.
Yeah.
Come on.
It got to a point like that I just had to take the damage on the grenade I threw because I had nowhere
Yeah.
to go. I had nowhere to move.
Right.
And I was like, really, I think I was like, one more hit, I'm dead, and then it ended. Like that was serious squeaky bum time.
The panic was real. I do love. You mentioned the flash grenade. I love the effect that the flash grenade has this time around. It feels way more useful to me in this remake than it ever was in the original.
It was always that's the way it always.
I
was,
know
though.
it was, but
Yeah.
I just I don't know. I feel it more or something.
These though,
It's definitely more common.
I could say this because, like, you have like you can unlock. Can I say this? I don't
I have
know.
no fucking idea because I don't know what you're gonna say.
Well, it's just it's
Is
a
it in the village?
Well, you technically you can use it anywhere because it's like accessories,
Right.
Right?
right? So you can get shades for Leon and Ash.
Oh, sure, yeah.
yeah, okay, right.
Well, they're
If
like, you
if
can buy them on the store.
yeah, that's true. Actually, you can.
Yeah.
If you throw the flash grenade, it doesn't actually affect you.
Oh, that's
He
cool.
doesn't put his
That's
hand.
cool.
He doesn't put his his hand up.
That's
over his eyes.
hilarious.
If he wears shades, he doesn't affect him
That's cool.
with the flash grenade. I'd like So there's lots of little things in it.
Yeah.
Lots of little attention to details. Like
Oh, they've done a fucking like even the reload animations and things like that are absolutely incredible. Like, Capcom fucking killed it, man.
having that extra bullet in the handgun is also super helpful, especially
Yeah,
for
yeah.
like that house moment.
Definitely, definitely. I think we're coming towards the end of discussing the village section, and of course, we will be coming back to talk about the castle and then the island, and as a result, that's the game as a whole. But is there anything else from the village you guys wanted to talk about before we depart it and move onwards?
My dog moment. So for you got
Oh.
really excited when you saw the dog.
Yeah.
For me, it was finding the Red 9 on the abandoned boat in the middle of the lake.
Yeah,
I
man.
was so happy to get the gun that early.
What a cool way! I wish there was more ways where you could find weapons like that. Like that is so cool.
Yeah, I didn't get the you can find the TMP, isn't that right? In the well.
That was in the demo.
okay.
not-
That's
the
not.
actual
That's
game.
not the actual game. That was like a demo thing,
There are I found a couple of weapons
right?
before they became available to purchase.
But yeah,
in my-
finding the
in my
Red 9
playthrough.
that way was so sick.
Yeah, I was not expecting it to get it that early in the game, and I'm so glad I did. And I've been just pumping money into that ever since I got it.
Do you guys use the new weapon at all, the bolt thrower, much?
No.
I did for the Chainsaw Sisters fight, and if I didn't have it, I would have been fucked. Yeah.
It is super useful as well, I find, those attachable mines.
Well, that's what I had to use.
I haven't actually used the bolts much, but the attachable mines, I've used that tactic many times. Many times in this game. It's usually after I've died and went, okay, well, that's going to happen.
Better go get my mines.
I'm going to preempt that moment and make sure that it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I find it useful that way.
So I actually always sell, if I get bolts, I sell them. If I get any of the knives, I'd sell them.
You're missing out, man.
I tried using the bolt thrower, but yeah.
What was your tactic on taking out the sisters then?
Shooting them.
That's very helpful. I had to like at the moment they appeared, I think I threw about 3 bolt mines at them.
Where they show up, yeah.
And then I threw 2 grenades, and then I went over and shot one of them with the shotgun, and that killed one.
Yes.
And then I had to go deal with the other, so I went out into the open then at that point. So I had to just like get rid of one of them in the
so that you could just
house.
Focus on one, right?
Just focus on one end.
But
there was a lot of other dudes too, like so.
There was a lot of no. I like ran out like straight away and just ran around shooting them and kind of going around shooting and stuff. And I found a point where I could stand and just let them funnel towards me. Like if you go upstairs and you go around, I let them funnel towards me, shoot at them, throw grenades, and if they got a little bit close, then I dropped down. I kept running. I'd always make sure that the enemies would funnel towards me, so I could just shock and blast or TMP them or whatever.
I like it. I like your tactic. Eric, for me, a big highlight was the dog. Adam said it was finding the red 9. Was there a big highlight moment for you in the village section?
The big highlight moment. Did I not say it?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Why, what was it? And I'll let you know if you said it or not.
Well, the dog was awesome. The dog was very actually, yeah. The El Gigante fight, I just thought it was such a cool cinematic fight. Like, the way they changed it and stuff, and just added in more stuff to it. This like savage brute,
epic.
Yeah, I thought it was such a cool way of doing that fight.
Well, guys, we'd love to hear from you what your big highlights were from the village section of Resident Evil 4 Remake. Are there any things that you would have liked changed a little bit, like we were saying, some mechanics added in, or things that are even like little additions to the story to go even further with the remake? Or are you just fucking super happy with how it is? Don't pick up our nitpicks wrong, by the way. This game was fucking awesome. It's an amazing, amazing game. And I can't wait to talk about the rest of it, which we will be doing. So make sure you're following the podcast or subscribe for that. So if you're watching this YouTube, jump down in the comments, share your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell so you're notified when we talk about the castle and when we talk about the island and every other topic that we bring up on this podcast. To those of you who are listeners on audio platforms, you can also touch base on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Brothers Take, again, to give your take on Resident Evil 4. That'll do it for this week's episode, guys. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.